You're listening to 515, the Ultra Podcast, the show that invites you into the lives of people who make up the Ultra family. Here's your host for these conversations, Larry Ryan.
Thanks, MJ. Hey, everybody, it's season 9. This is episode number 119. We've been downloaded in 151 countries and over 2,750 cities worldwide. Check out our full library for free wherever you got this episode. Before we get started today, I just wanted to extend my congratulations to all of the athletes and all involved in the recent Ultraman Canada. Kyle Figueredo was the champion, with the two ladies in the race sitting in positions 1 and 2 after day 2. So another strong showing for females at UMC. Congrats to Mallory and Sarah, who ended up finishing 2nd and 3rd. A special congratulations to Ramiro Gutierrez Pedro for passing Gary Wang as the person with the most completed 515 races in the world. Ramiro now sits at 22 and shows no sign of stopping. Last week, we learned that Brad Sawa will not be returning as the race director, and that job has now been taken over by American Scott James. Scott, who resides in Oregon, was already a member of the Ohanaloa board. Today's guest was also at the race, so let's get into that conversation right now. Today, we are sitting down with a true legend of the Canadian ultra-endurance community. At 63 years young, today's guest is a walking blueprint of what it means to battle back, break barriers, and build a legacy that changes lives. He's a military veteran who served as an aircraft electronics technician, a husband, a father of 4, and a proud grandfather of 9. His athletic resume reads like an endurance bucket list. We're talking 14 Ironman Canada finishes, the grueling Double Brown, the legendary Pikes Peak, and the punishing terrain of the Canadian Death Race. He is a self-coached athlete who guides others through his business, Epic 365. And just recently, he put his heart on the line at Ultraman Canada. After undergoing 2 major shoulder surgeries in the past 18 months, he's pushed his body to the absolute limit, conquering the brutal 10-kilometer swim before the physical toll forced him to make an honorable DNF during the 145-kilometer ride on day 1. But his massive athletic footprint goes far beyond his own finish lines. He is the visionary pioneer who officially brought the global park run movement to Canadian soil in 2016. What started as a single event in Kelowna has exploded into a nationwide phenomenon with 64 events across the country, inspiring thousands of Canadians to move every single Saturday morning. He coaches, he conquers, and he races for the purest reason of all, because he still can. Get ready for an incredible conversation about grit, community, and the unstoppable spirit of Ultra. Joining me today from his home in Calgary, Alberta, please welcome the father of Canadian Park Run, Bill Justus. Hello, Bill. Welcome.
Thanks, Larry. Good to see you.
Nice to see you. Nice to see you in one piece after what you've been through recently. We're recording this just shortly after your Ultraman Canada event, and it's good to see you holding your head up.
Yeah, that was a chore after the swim. Trust me.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into the whole UMC event in just a little bit, but I would like to start off today with one of the lines from the intro there. You stated that your primary motivation for racing these days is simply because you still can, and after what you've just been through. I'm wondering, when you're deep into a pain cave at a race, how much does that gratitude of being able to move still fuel you and keep you going? And what is your personal history that brings you to this place of gratitude as a way to experience these races?
Well, I mean, it's quite a long question, but I'll do my best to answer it. As you get a little longer in the tooth and a little bit of gray on top, gray on the chin, you start to become pretty introspective about what you can and cannot do. And I am fortunate enough that I've always found a way to dig deep and get stuff done, even when I was a young man. So um, the fact that I can still do this when a lot of my peer group, guys that I went to high school with, guys I served in the military with, can no longer bend over and touch their toes or clip their own toenails or pick a simple task that
Right.
you start to lose the ability to do as you get older. I'm fortunate enough that I've stayed fit enough that I still get to do this, and I get to show my grandkids that I can.
Yeah. And and you mentioned that with the 9 grandkids, you're a proud grandfather. So when you're getting to these races and they see you doing these amazing things, it must be so inspirational for them. Do they kind of pick up on what you're doing and how crazy some of this stuff is, or are they
Well,
just so used to what you do that they don't even really understand how crazy this stuff is?
so my oldest grandson's 26, and him and I hike a lot together out in Kananaskis country, out in Banff. And I can remember a couple of years ago we were out. I had finished a couple I think I'd done a marathon, and I was sort of getting ready for the next thing, which was supposed to be UMC 25.
Hmm.
And we went for a hike, and I got sort of up on this ledge, and I was breathing pretty good. And I turned around and said, "Hey man, sorry we're going a little slow today." And he said, "I'm just glad I can keep up with the cyborg." Um, so that's kind of his take on his grandfather.
Yeah.
Um, and then as they go down, 21, 18, 14, 9, 8, that block of group of kids sort of have an understanding of what I do. They don't understand why I do it. And it's really tough to explain why you would go out and punish yourself, even a 10K or a half marathon when your foot's on the gas pedal. Yeah, there's some punishment involved.
Hmm.
They don't quite get it. My middle granddaughter, she's 18, Grace. She's a dancer, and she's at a very elite level. She's got scholarships to dance schools down in the U.S. So she kind of understands the work ethic that has to happen
Hmm.
to be able to do what I do. And then the ones below 7, I picked them up and carried them across the finish line. They're just, they're happy that I can take them for a bike ride while I'm running behind them, kind of deal.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I want those kids to grow up know that if you want it and you try, you can get it done.
Mm.
And that's school, athletics,
Right.
music. It doesn't matter what the pursuit is. So again, I'm very fortunate that at my age, um, you know, I can still do what I do. I've been through one round of cancer. I was diagnosed with CIDP in oh boy, 2010, 2012, which is
Sorry, what's the IDP?
so CIDP is chronic inflammatory demyelinating polyneuropathy, which means that when I got my ass kicked from cancer, when my immune system came back, it thought that my nervous system, the myelin sheath around my nervous system, was a foreign body and started to eat it. So short enough, couldn't feel my feet, had a hard time with movement, mishmash drugs to try and get it in check because there was no cure then, there isn't now. So again, I'm tickled pink that I can still get on a bike and ride, still put my running shoes on and go for a run. And I'm not a swimmer, but I can still swim.
Yeah, and I guess this is part of where your gratitude comes from for
Yeah.
being able to do these things is the things that you faced that could have stopped you along the way from doing these things, and that stopped so many of your friends that you've mentioned.
Yeah. I mean, again, military for 20 odd years, right? So in dispersed service, I found a way to still go out and do races and still do events and still create events and still, still inspire people to come out for a run. And
Yeah.
the hardest thing when you get to be uh, well known in the endurance community or as a runner or a cyclist, and you say, "Hey, Larry, you want to come for a ride?" And you'll go, "No, thanks. I'm not.
It's going to be
I'm
too
not into
far.
getting my ass handed to me, right?" And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, if I want to go for a ride with somebody, I want company. It's
Yeah.
not a race, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Racing is racing, training is training, and it's so hard for most people to wrap their melon around that.
Yeah. Well, let's get into some of these classic races you've done. Like you've been doing this for so many years. There's a couple on your resume that I wasn't familiar with, and I was trying to look up. Can you tell us what's Double Brown?
The Double Brown was the predecessor to Ironman New Zealand, so it was again just a wonderful event. I went down there as a young fella, not really sure why I was going or what I was doing. I never really, I was in the military, so I never really traveled much. I had a steel bike. You know, there were no aero bars back then. You think about where the sport of triathlon started, back on the Big Island and, or back on Oahu, actually. There was nothing. We had no gels. There was no polyester or anything. There was no goos and special carbon shoes. And there was no, like, I, I didn't do the race. Um, but I entered when I saw Julie Moss crawl across the finish line and I got to see the ocean for the first time. And I went, yeah, no, not happening this year. But it was $50,
Wow. Yeah.
right? So, and they sent me an Ironman in training t-shirt and
Yeah.
a couple water bottles and a visor when I entered.
Nice. Yeah.
$50. Think of where it's at now.
Well, hold on here.
Right?
I got a little surprise for you. Hold on.
All right. Yeah, sure. Oh, jeez, Christ. My God.
Ironman New Zealand.
Where did you get that? Did you go do that?
No, you know what? I got that from the Steve Brown sale.
This is from the Steve Brown sale.
Not too long ago, Steve Brown was selling off all his old posters of Ironman races and things that he had down at Peach City Runners in the office.
Right?
And so I picked up a few.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's memorabilia you don't want to get rid of.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the Double Brown was more for me. It wasn't about the race. It was more about getting off the continent and going to find out what the Southern Hemisphere had to offer. I did a 50-miler while I was down there. I went for 4 weeks, which was way out of my budget.
Yeah.
Give you an idea. I was working for the Canadian military at the time. I made $9,200 a year. And I had
What was this? 1912?
No, that was 1980, buddy.
Wow.
So, it was a shoestring budget.
Yeah.
I had more fun when I went and did Pikes Peak because I had a little more money the year I went and did that.
Yeah. Tell us about that race, Pikes Peak.
So you didn't know anything about that race, right? I sent you the results and
That's right. Yeah.
I think it was 6:57 off the mountain, something like that, 7 hours. So Pikes Peak, Colorado starts in Manitou Springs. And I got, again, had more money, didn't have a lot of money. I had an Austin Mini Cooper. So imagine this. And I'm living in Winnipeg. I got my Mini Cooper. I drove to Colorado,
Okay.
34 odd hours. I ran uphill. Back then, the race was 28.2 miles where they started at Manitou. So this was more than a marathon. I ran uphill for 14.1 to 14,115 feet. Got there and said, "Do you have anything special you want?" I said, "A chocolate chip cookie would go really good right about now, and a glass of chocolate milk." And they had it at the instant.
It's like the genie.
Yeah, it's like other people must have asked for this.
Yeah.
So I got to the top, powered that back, and there's this spot called the 13 Steps to Heaven when you're going up and when you're going down. It's about, I don't know, 10 or 11 miles in the race. And if you look to your right on your way down, never forget, if you look to your right on your way down, there's a catch net. Because
Oh,
if you
wow.
miss the step,
Yeah.
it's a long, long fall with a quick stop at the bottom.
Yeah.
But that was back in the years when we believed that, if you ate almost raw meat, and a bucket of pasta, you were good to go for the next day. And I was down there with, and these names you may or may not know: Tess Porter, Al Howie, Tom Brown. Who else was there? Wally Herman. So those guys. Tess was probably the quintessential ultra runner back in the 70s. Al Howie was one of the best known ultra runners across the 70s
Yeah.
and 80s.
Yeah. I recognize that name.
Right. And Wally was probably the oldest. And by oldest, he was my age back in those days. And he was one of those guys that, kind of said to me, keep doing this as long as you can. I can still do this. I still get to do this.
Yeah.
And sort of started me down that road of gratitude. Back when I was 18 years of age, I had somebody that was 60 plus saying, hey, don't ever stop.
So how does an 18-year-old start into ultra distance? Usually it's an older person's game.
Well, you're talking to somebody who's a little odd. How do I start? Well, I can't catch a football. I can't catch a baseball, which means I can't hit baseball. I can play golf, but let's just call it chasing the white ball around the course. A good hole for me on a par five would be probably 9. I'm gonna go out there to spend some time with friends and drink a cup of beer.
Yeah.
So when I'm not a big guy now, dripping wet. I'm buck 65. I'm 5'8" now. I think I was 5'9". But when I was in 12, somewhere in there, we figured out I could run, and that was my way of competing with the bigger kids at the time.
Oh yeah.
And in high school, I ran a 402 mile, and I just fell in love with running back in the days when high tops were what we had for runners.
Yeah.
I can remember my first pair of real racing shoes, running shoes, was an Osaga KT26. And it's the same time frame as the Waffle Trainer came out from Nike.
Okay. Yeah.
About the same vintage. And I fell in love with running and everything about it.
Yeah.
Saw Terry Fox run across the country. My response to that was, when he didn't make it, is I ran from Edmonton to Calgary, on a barbell. I said to a buddy of mine, we were 17, I think at the time, maybe 18, not sure.
18.
Said,
if you were in the bar, you were 18. That's the legal age in Alberta.
Okay, so I was 18, but I don't think I was 18, but I was 18. I said to my buddy, I'll bet you a case of beer I can run further in my tank of gas and you can't go in your tank of gas. And then we started, and he left. I left Saturday morning. He left sometime Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
And he stopped just outside of Calgary, and 29 hours later, I was in Calgary.
Oh, wow.
So my dad, I'll never forget it, my dad got interviewed by 6:30 Ched, so that's going back a few years. I remember that, I don't know. And they called my father and said somebody had gotten wind of what I was doing. The motorhome or something stopped and offered me a sandwich.
Yeah.
Told the radio station what I was doing, raising money for Terry Fox.
Yeah.
And I called my dad up, and they said, "Are you Joe Justus?" And he said, "Yeah, I am." He said, "Your son's Bill Justus?" And he said, "He is. What's wrong?" And the guy said, "Do you know what your son's doing right now?" And my father, honest to God, because I got the transcript somewhere, said, said I must have been 17. He said, does any father of a 17-year-old boy know what he's doing at any given point in time? And the radio said, "Well, he's just outside of Rare and he's running to Calgary." And my dad said, "Sounds like Bill," and then hung the phone up. So that's how a young guy gets started in this nonsense. I've just been doing it for it's 5 decades now, Larry. I've been running.
Yeah, that's great.
I don't know how to be any other way.
And of course, your inspiration there that you mentioned, Terry Fox, for people that are not from Canada, and may not know Terry Fox, he was a person not much older than you were at that time who was attempting to run across Canada to raise money for cancer research because he had lost one of his legs. He started off in Newfoundland and was trying to run to Victoria, and unfortunately, the cancer came back, and he had to pull out of that run just around Thunder Bay, which is about halfway.
Yeah.
So
And you think
every
about,
year now we have a Terry Fox run. We're 40 plus something years now on the Terry Fox run
yeah.
here in Canada.
And if you think about the enormity of that, go ahead. I don't care who you are, runner, try and run 26 miles, walk 26 miles every day.
Yeah,
Wind, rain, sun, heat, mosquitoes, flies. Go ahead, give it a shot.
yeah,
Not an easy task. So full
yeah.
marks for not only who he was and what he did and why he did it, but just the sheer magnitude of the event. It was insane.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of running around in Alberta, one of the other races that you've done and was just happening this weekend now is the Canadian Death Race. Now, I love the name. People outside of Canada might not be as familiar with the Canadian Death Race. We had Shane Masker in there this year, a former Ultraman Canada finisher. He had to pull out of the race, unfortunately, I saw on his Facebook. But congrats to you, Shane, for getting out there and competing at the Canadian Death Race. Maybe you can tell us, Bill, a little bit about what the Canadian Death Race is.
The Canadian Death Race is this itty bitty teeny weeny little 125-kilometer jaunt through the middle of the mountains in Grand Prairie, Alberta. And they take great glee in taking you up to the top of three peaks over the course of the 125 through a river crossing at 99. The race usually starts in 25-degree weather, and you run through the night, so you probably hit 5 or 6. You can have snow. There are four checkpoints. Yeah, 4 checkpoints in the finish line. And you have to carry this tiny little coin with you to pay the ferryman to get across the river. And if you don't have your coin when you get there, you got to go across basically submerged and hanging on. And that river is probably, I don't know, 6 degrees Celsius. So every time you go into a checkpoint, you show them your coin that you can move on. You race your number, I think that was race number 22. And you show your coin in, put it back in a little pouch, and keep going. And I did it in 99, the very first year. I was like, this sounds like it's going to be too much fun. Now, they had us going through what they called a ditch at the first marathon, and it was dry. There wasn't a lick of water in it, so we didn't get muddy. And we went up to the top of the first climb. So it took 26 miles to get top of the first peak. And then it brought us back down to the starting point in 3. So you're working your way up, climbing constantly, and then you're an outrigger with one foot in front of you, skiing down this, back down to the bottom of the valley. Come back in, you check in, you go back up the second climb. Now, the second climb, I got to the top, and I've gone from 35. And this after dark, I get to this bivouac tent. Gone from 35 to raining, so temperature dropped significantly. And we didn't have 99, so that's 27 years ago. These cute little LED headlamps that we got now that weigh nothing.
Yeah.
You had a scope and 5 batteries in the back, and your carrying bags with you in case your batteries ran out. And get to this bivouac tent to check in where I thought was the check-in. And they said, "Oh, no, you're not checking in here." I said, "Well, I'm on the trail. What's going on?" They said, "Well, the peak of the mountains out that flap, just follow the trail, go up to the stake we've got in the ground and grab your number and then bring that back." And I went, "Okay." I'm in shorts and a singlet, and it's snowing up there. I step out the other side, and as I'm going up the flap, I said to the guys, "Why aren't you at the top?" And the answer was, well, the quads won't run that high.
Is it getting too steep for the quad to climb the mountain?
Too steep and not enough oxygen up at 9,000 feet or where it was for the quad to run properly. So they just parked it there and pitched their tent and sent us on our way. It's like
Yeah.
it was the first race where I experienced the pain cave where you have to ask yourself some serious questions as if why, how
Yeah.
come? And I'll never forget, I got into checkpoint 4 and my partner was there with my ranger. Now I'm a guy who talk to anybody. I'm the guy that says, I'll take a slice of pizza on the Ironman ride.
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't like real food because I learned to race on real food. So she was sitting there with a cold, not I don't know how she didn't have one piece, pepperoni pizza, waiting for me. It's I don't know 2 a.m. I pulled in and sat down in my truck and I said to her, I don't think eating some pizza. I don't think I got what got. I'm done. Like there's just nothing. I got nothing left in the tank. Like I got 26 kilometers to go and a river crossing. Yeah, I'm good. I think we'll just call it here. We can drive back to the hotel and I can warm up to this. Shaking, shivering. Back in those days, I was probably about $1.45. 30 pounds lighter than I am right now.
Yeah.
No body fat on me at all. No real muscle mass on me back in those days either, because I hadn't put on the muscle from cycling and from swimming. And she turned to me and said, without even missing the beat, she said, well, you got nothing to prove to anybody but yourself. And I gave her a kiss and said, see ya. I'm not done. And then ran into town.
Nice.
So that's kind of my death race experience. It was I still have if I took you down to my pain cave, there's stuff everywhere. And
Yeah.
I bet you there's 500 medals, trophies, awards, posters
Right.
from places that I never thought I'd get to. And that's what I mean is grateful beyond. I've
Right.
raced on places that most people even dare to go for a holiday. Like back in my era, there wasn't the internet where you're going, huh, when's this race happening? Click, 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 click. It was open up a Runner's World magazine,
Yeah.
back 3 pages, close your eyes and go, there. Well, that's where I'm going in August.
Yeah. Well, one of those races that you went to that is now also defunct, not too far here from me in Vancouver, was the Haney to Harrison 100.
Yes,
That was a great race. I
it
was
sure
there a
was.
few times when Lucy was racing, and you actually got to race with some amazing people at the Haney to Harrison. A lot
I
of
did.
people know Mr. Steve King as the voice of Ultraman, and he's only the voice of Ultraman now, but he was a phenomenal runner in his day. Probably would still beat most people out there right now, I bet. And he was racing with you at the Haney to Harrison one time. So not many people get to say that they went head to head with Steve King. A lot of the younger people now, they know him as the voice and not as the racer. What's it like to race against Steve King?
So I understand there's 15 years between me and Steve, right? When I raced against Steve, that's actually where I met Steve. That's when we became friends. And I was this young, you know, coconut-sized cojones on me. So we got to the start line, and I'd never met Steve before. I had no idea who he was. And he didn't know me. And we took off and started running. And so you think about that, it's 100. And I think we both left the gate at about, well, I'll do it in kilometers, probably about 4:10s or around
Oh,
100,
oh yeah.
right? Now, back in those days, again, there was no goo, there was no tailwind, there was no F2C, there was pick one. They didn't
Yeah.
exist. There was no, I used to take licorice, right? Because to me, that was gel and sugar, so it'd take longer to digest. I already said pizza was my weapon of choice. Pepsi, Coke,
Yeah.
Gatorade was sort of in the forefront. but it was too sweet for my palate. I didn't like the flavors they had. Anyhow, we're running along, scooting along. I'll never forget. I think we were about 91, and I had been in the lead for, well, probably 91 of those 91K out front,
Yeah.
behind me. And I got to 91, and I was starting to run out of gas, starting to bonk, starting to feel the effects of the mileage and the pace. And I could hear footsteps. I didn't know whose footsteps, but I could hear footsteps. And my uncle was crewing for me. I did crew back then.
Yeah.
My uncle was crewing for me, and he said, "This older fella's coming." Now he's 15 years. Like, I'm 20 or whatever it was, and Steve's 35.
Yeah.
And he's coming hard. It's like, yeah, no problem. I'll just stay with him. And Steve quietly came beside me and said, "Are you okay?" And I went, "I don't know." And then we ran together for maybe a kilometer or two.
Steve King was a psychological warrior, huh?
Oh
Asking you if you were
yeah,
okay.
he's a tough guy, right? And he's a good, and like you said, he was a very gifted and runner. And I would still say that if he wanted to put his head down and go, he would crush most people that are his age. Yeah, he went by me, and I think we passed at about 92 or 93K into the race,
Yeah.
and he was finished at about a 5 minute pace, so probably another 35 minutes. He was done. It took me an hour.
Mm.
And I got passed by one other guy. So I finished third overall,
Yeah.
but it's like beeble and bobbling into the
Yeah.
into the finish line because the tank was empty and then some. Like, I was on vapor for the last kilometer. Right?
Yeah.
And when you enter a race like that, you're running from Haney, a little town, to Harrison Hot Springs, this beautiful, iconic place where you can go and sit in the wellness and feel good. And it's like, so the whole way you run, it's like, I get a chance to sit in Hot Springs and chill out. Man, I didn't want anything but a bed. It's like shower, food, bed, in that order. Never made it to Hot Springs. Nothing ever saw the inside of Hot Springs.
Oh, that's too bad. That's too bad. Yeah.
But yeah, that's where I met Steve, and we've been friends ever since. Right? We
Yeah.
bumped into each other at a couple races, and yeah, he's the iconic voice of Ironman Canada, and then
Absolutely.
Ultraman. Like, he's just got a way about announcing that he makes everybody, regardless whether they're first or last, feel like they've just won the world.
Yeah.
And that in itself is astounding.
Yeah. Well, if people are new to the podcast, episodes 1, 2, and 3 of the podcast have Steve King. I spent a long time speaking with him to kick this podcast off because he is the man with all the knowledge when it comes to Ultraman. And we talked a lot about his racing career during those episodes. So go back if you want to know more about the history of Steve King's illustrious career and his century runs and his race walking and everything else that he's done. Please go back and listen to episodes 1, 2, and 3 of the first season.
Yeah, it'd be worth a listen for sure.
Hello, listener. I love getting your feedback and suggestions for the podcast. Keep them coming at 515ultraman@gmail.com. For those that want to help me promote the show, I suggest that you tell a friend to listen to. Word of mouth is a great way for podcasts to get new listeners. And if you don't mind publishing your feelings, a free way to support the show is by leaving a 5-star rating and review on your podcast app. It's a chance to tell me what you love about the show, and it helps others discover it too. Finally, if you're so inclined, you can show your appreciation for my work by clicking the support link at the bottom of the show notes to go to my Buy Me a Coffee page. Thanks for all of your feedback and support. Now back to the show. Now, I booked you for this podcast a while out, thinking that we would be talking about how you have overcome these shoulder surgeries and been a finisher at Ultraman Canada. And, not every race turns out exactly how you want it to. Can you tell us a little bit about what happened with the surgeries, how it held you back from racing previously, and why you were determined to try and get to the starting line this year?
Well, Um, 2024, yeah, no, 2025 March. Um, I was running a restaurant at the time and had a load of food fall on me and tried to ward it away with my left arm, over-centered me, and I landed with my left arm extended in the bottom of a machine and blew my left shoulder. So there's four tendons in your rotator cuff, and then your bicep tendon can be involved. I blew them all. There was nothing left of that shoulder to the lower arm. I couldn't raise my hand, couldn't raise my arm.
Wow.
That was repaired May of 2025. And my surgeon, really nice guy, said, you'll be a year to a year and a half before you'll have full use of that shoulder. And I went, do you know me? Seriously. You have no idea who I am. Again, so I'm 61 and still cocky. That's kind of who I am. And he
Yeah.
went, I don't care who you are. I don't care what you've done in the past. This, it is the most complex joint in the human body, and you will not get it back in 7 or 8 months, let alone what you think you're going to get in. So I'll see you in 3 weeks' time after, and I'll see you in 3 weeks, and we'll see you till you get to where it's at. Well, he was right. I was wrong. Anyhow, so that leads me to shoulder number 2. So September of 25, and if you've never had shoulder surgery, when they repair you, they reroute the bicep tendon. I have some plastic in there now, artificial tendons to sort of create that. They did an allograft on me, which is cadaver skin to help the tendons heal and recover and sort of gets reabsorbed into the joint. Anyhow, the September 28th of 25, so May, April, or May, June, July, August, September, 4 months. I'm in, feeling good. Let's go for a little run. Figure out myself a little sling that I can hang on to so that I can support the left arm from there. I'm going to go run a little mountain called Moose Mountain here in Alberta. It's 15K one direction, about, I don't know, 6,500 feet of elevation gain. Get to the top, have a sandwich, start coming back down. I get to the bottom, and it sort of has this sort of false, you think you're at the bottom, it's this little gully that you get into. And when you come around it's a 90-degree corner, it's blind, you can't see what's coming. So I come around the corner, right into a bear. I don't know who is more scared, the bear or Bill. But both of us were real freaked. So I run with bear spray. I whip my bear spray out, and it's armed. I take the safety off when I leave, and I sprayed the bear. And I went off uphill around the bear, and away I went. And I don't know, it was probably a kilometer and a half at that point from where my truck was parked. So I got, I don't know, 900 meters up this trail and figured maybe I should look in my rearview mirror to see if this big, huge grizzly thing is following me. And thank God it wasn't, because I hit a root with my right foot and started to head onto the ground. Now, my left shoulder is 4 months old, so brain's still working. Let's use the right arm.
Yeah, got to protect that
Got to protect the left shoulder, so let's use the right arm to take the fall. And as we get to the bottom, let's roll and pretend we're a football player and use your shoulder to continue the fall. And blew the right shoulder. And I hit so hard that I thought I'd broken the shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
And I probably would have, but again, I got metal throughout my body. I've got, broken clavicle and missing a finger, all through racing and doing what I've done over the course. I raced hard. It's the only way I know how to be.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I got back to my truck. I called my wife. I told her what had happened. She said, "Are you okay to drive?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm 90K from the house. What would you expect me to do?" Well, I can come get you. We can leave your truck there. It's like, no, I'll be okay. I'll just put it on autopilot. go.
So you
It's
can't
got
lift your
itself.
right shoulder to steer because you just injured it.
Well,
Your
I
your
I
left
can't
is in
steer on
the
the right shoulder. The
sling.
left shoulder is not really ready to steer. So the truck has auto drive in it. So I put it in auto drive and let the truck do the majority of the work. And I put my hand on the bottom of the steering wheel so that it knew that I was still attached to the truck. And headed home. I got home. It's like, she's like, what do you do? It's no, I think I'm okay. I'll sit and lick my wounds for a bit. 2 o'clock in the morning, the pain was so bad I went to the hospital. I went in and I'll never forget the nurse. She says to me, why are you here? I injured myself running. I fell on my shoulder. She's like, you're not drunk? No. Not high? No. You don't have the sniffles? No. I injured myself. She said, can you sign this? And I said, lift my arm up. Sorry. She's like, you are injured. I said, yeah. So they got me in, did an x-ray, not broken. The physician on site said that, well, we got to do an MRI to see what damage has been done, see the MRI. So again, blew 4 out of the 5 tendons, right side. 2.5 days later, I was going to see my surgeon for this one. So I walked in, so obviously, he goes, how's it going? I said, this one's working really good. This one, however, not so much. He said,
He's
well,
like,
what you
he's
do is
probably
I
not
told
used to having repeat customers as
no.
a shoulder surgeon.
And now I'm his coach, right? So
Oh wow, okay.
yeah, so because that's another story. So it was repaired. We'll call it February of this year.
Okay.
Um, and again, so you can't do anything for 6 weeks. Your arm is locked down. It's like you're in a cast.
Yeah.
Which makes it really interesting to do simple little tasks like brush your teeth, go to the bathroom, give up your pants.
Right.
Those are all tasks that people take for granted. Anyhow, got had learned, I think, over the course from this one, what I could and what I couldn't do, and what I should and what I shouldn't do. And sharp pain is bad, but uncomfortable pain's not so bad. So I started working this to see if I could get this shoulder ready for the race. I think I got the shoulder to the point where the shoulder itself was okay for the movement of the race. But what I'd forgotten, Larry, is that my neck, my traps, my rhomboids, my lats, all those muscles that control half of your erective structure, so all your things that keep us nice and erect,
Yeah.
hadn't been worked in about 15 months. So being in a prone position for 5.5 hours,
That's how
all
long
that's
it took you to get through the 10-kilometer swim.
yeah. So I got to the 5,000 meter mark, and I could no longer, in a good swimming position, head to the water sitting on the forehead. I could no longer get my right arm out of the water to reach out in front of me and catch.
Right.
So the only solution for that was to drop my chin to my chest and arch my back so that I artificially had created a different position so I could get my arm forward. I just swam that way for 5,000 meters. So when I got out of the water, I was a mess. I couldn't raise my head. I couldn't lift my arms. My crew chief said, "You gonna call it?" Went, hell no, get me on my bike. I'll be fine.
Well, hold on now. On your crew, you do have the best masseuse in the
Unbelievable, the best.
world.
Yep. Yeah, I've
So
got.
did you take advantage of Gail's magic fingers in the transition to get you loosened up?
I did not.
Ah,
Right. So down at the water, I had Rob Gibson, amazing athlete in his own right, did Ultraman last year. That's how we met. I paced him for the last half of the marathon, 3 months post surgery, I was there to help because I couldn't race. So I figured if I can't race, I might as well help. It was my planned A race of the year. And Rob was struggling in the marathon and never didn't think he was going to make it. And I said, F that. This man's going to make the run if I got to pick him up and carry him. So that's how we met. We sort of became fast friends there. So he was my crew chief, and he was in the water, kind of carried me out of the water because literally I was in pretty bad shape. And I had a buddy of mine, from Toronto that flew in, has no idea what ultra or endurance sports are about, but he just wanted to come see me hurt. So
What's his name?
his name's DeGarrett Fulton. Hell of a nice guy. Came out, a ton of fun to be around. Has a raucous laugh and sort of when things are down, he can sort of lighten the mood. That's kind of why I wanted him there. So he came, and then I had Rob's wife, because they do things together. And Rhonda had crewed for Rob last year, so she knew what the race was about and kind of what it took. And we called her the accountant because everything had to be done by the numbers. So
Nice.
she took care and control of my carb load, my food, my fluid intake, and basically the mom. Like, she just was all over me. And then I have
Every good crew needs a numbers person.
right. And then I had, without a doubt, in my opinion, the best massage physical therapist on the planet. And anybody that she's worked on would say the exact same thing. And that's Gail Lau, from Australia. So she flew into Canada. I'd like to say to see me and work for me and help me work on me, but she also has a son here in Canada. So I'm just a sidebar. But I said to her, hey, if you're going to be in Canada, she comes every 2 or 3 years. She doesn't come every year.
Yeah.
I said, if you're coming again this year, I'd love to have you. I'll get you here. And she said, absolutely. If you're racing Mady, I'll be there. And unfortunately, I didn't. Again, you spend 5 hours plus doing the left right arm drill with your arms when you're not a swimmer. And again, that's hard for you to say when I just swam 10K.
Yeah.
But my brain wasn't really thinking at that point. I just wanted on terra firma on my bike. My bike and I are, one. And the Pinarello 9, I just love it to death. It's a great bike to ride. But Gail becomes very important at about kilometer 21 in the bike ride. Because when I got on the bike and left town, again, you're trying to, doesn't matter whether you're first or you're last, like I was. Your excitement level comes up. I'm out of the water.
Yeah.
Let's move forward. Let's get shoes on. And then I ran into a buddy. I don't know if you know Brad Cochran, another iron triathlete that I've known for years. He's standing at my bike and he gives me a great big hug. I haven't seen the guy in a decade.
Oh, nice.
And he pulled over and said,
that's a good pick me up.
They went, Bill Justus. Like, Bill Justus, really? He's still alive? That was what Brad said to my crew. So I just went on my bike. And I leave town, and very key and very obvious that I had 2 options: ride with no hands, and I could have my head, I could keep myself erect enough that I could watch where I was going, or put my hands on the bars, but then my head dropped. So then I couldn't watch where I was going. I couldn't see oncoming traffic. I couldn't see stoplights. Leaving town's not flat. Going in O'Kay's Falls, not flat. Climbing up into O'Kay Falls isn't flat. So I did all that, hands off the bars. And if I had to negotiate a corner, I put my hands on the handlebars so I could negotiate the corner better, and I had my hand on a brake, but it was very short-lived. Pulled into where they stopped for me, and because the first 20K is a no feeding zone, you can't stop. Your crews can stop and watch you go by, but they can't help you because the road
you're navigating
is so
yourself
narrow.
out of the city.
Yeah, the road is so narrow, it's not safe for anybody. It's not safe for your crew, it's not safe for you, it's not safe for oncoming traffic. It's just not safe.
Yeah.
Well, rightly so. I came rolling in and I said to everybody, I said, where's Gail? She's got to fix me. Do what you got to do, but make me work. She's like, what's wrong? I said, I can't keep my head up. So I told her what was going on. And she worked on the front side of my neck, above my collarbones. I thought my head was going to pop off. It was so painful. It was probably, and then she dug around on my back and did some things back there. And then she taped me up. And I was probably at that stop for 20 or 25 minutes. But I was able to ride. Yeah. I could put my hands on the handlebars and I could watch where I was going. And what a turn. And that's what I mean. There's not many people out there that could take a person who's broken and
put them back together that quickly
with tape like Lego, right? But she just It's insane what the lady can do. And she's the nicest person on the planet. Like she truly is lovely. I don't think she'd say poop if she had two hands full. Like she's just that kind of person, right? So
Yeah.
again, very, very fortunate to call her a friend, and to have her on my crew. Um, they glued me together and I sort of rolled down to Soyuz and climbed Richter and got to the other side of Richter. And I call them the seven bitches. I'm sorry if that's not on color. But there's seven rock and rollers
Yeah.
when you go on the other side of Richter. And the reason they're ugly is because you just get up one and then you have to pedal. And you get to the top and there's not enough down to get to the top of the next one. So there's seven of those. And I got to, I don't know, the third one, I think. And I said, I looked at my watch and going, we're doing this many minutes for 5K. I've got 9 5Ks left. I'm going to be short by half an hour. Today's not the day, guys. I'm gonna call it right. There's no point in injuring myself. There's no point. I want to be able to do this till I'm 90.
Right.
Maybe not ultra man, but I want to be able to get out and toe the line at a 5K, a 10K, an Olympic distance race. I want to be able to go support and help other athletes. I want to be able to coach. And I was at the point where it's like, if I continue, because of how I'm feeling, there's always the chance that I'm going to hit something on the road, hit a speed wobble, and not have the acumen or the control of the bike that I have to have at 45 or 50 kilometers an hour going downhill, and I'm going to hurt myself. So I called it. I think it was a wise move. It's not something I wanted to do. That being said and done, I got off my bike and stopped my Garmin because everybody knows if you don't stop your Garmin, it's on Strava, and then it's the saying goes, it's not on Strava, it didn't happen. Um, Anyhow, I stopped my Garmin and I took a look at my body battery, Larry, and it was at -8. I didn't think you could go to -8. There it was.
Yeah.
And the start of the day at 100. So I gave it everything I had.
Yeah.
And
You gave it 108%.
108%. And I got up the next morning and got on my bike ready for day 2 with a body battery of 10.
Yeah,
And I had a blast.
that's one of the, one of the things about 515 racing is that, you've paid for 3 days of racing. And just because you weren't able to finish day 1 in the 12-hour cutoff, you're welcomed back to be a participant and continue on the course, and have as much fun as you want along the way. And so you decide to come back and start day 2.
Yeah, absolutely. I would have missed day 2 for the world. Day 2's, I've done the first 140K probably 150 times in my life, right? I lived in Kelowna for 30 years. You said earlier, I've done 14 Ironman Canadas. It's part of the Ironman original course, so it's a pretty iconic ride. So I knew that. But day 2, I think I've only ridden a half a dozen times in my career of riding in that area. So I know the race course exceedingly well, and I really wanted to hit the wall and crush down Karameus and ride out to, Bromley Rock and go past.
When you say hit the wall, for people that haven't raced in Canada, you didn't mean you were trying to hit a physical wall and push yourself too hard. It is part of the course.
Yeah, I guess I should describe the course. You turn on this little road called Green Lake Road, and there's a sign there that says, "See you later, Ranch 5K." Now, See you later, Ranch. You're at, I don't know what the exact numbers are, but See you later, Ranch, you're at 1,000 feet above sea level, and See you later, Ranch is at 1,900. So in 5K, you're going to go up 900 feet. Doesn't sound so bad. But the first 3 of that 5K is just this nice, slow, gentle 2.5% climb with some descents in it. You can roll along pretty easily at 30 kilometers an hour. You're not breaking a sweat, eating, fueling, whatever. And this is a no feed zone. And then you hit a sign that says, "See you later, Ranch 2K." And it starts. And it pitches pretty quick to 9, 10, 12, 14, 18, 21, 22, and you're at the top of the wall. And it's called the wall for a reason. If you take a look at any Garmin, any Strava link, I don't care how fast you ride it, your line is sheer vertical. It looks like you've just run into a wall.
Yeah.
Now, at about 1K to go, there's a sign that says almost there. Now,
Did you kick that as you went by?
I, I love the wall. I do. I like to climb. I'm a little guy, and I like to think I'm pretty strong. I love climbing.
Yeah.
And I got to there, and it's like, all right, now she's going to begin. And it goes real quickly from 12 to 1821. So you come around the corner, and you can see where the finish of the wall is. Like you can see Sealer Ranch Winery. There's a little barn on the right, and I could see pink. That's all I could see. I could see people running around in pink. Now, if you've been on Facebook,
Yep.
you've seen the picture of what I'm about to describe. If you haven't been on Facebook, find Steve King on Facebook and go take a look at the picture because it's worth the giggle.
Yeah.
I knew it was my crew and I knew they'd done something odd because that's the kind of humans they are. And I sort of disappeared into this precipice that is the 18 to 22% because it's so steep and so sharp that you lose where the finish area is. And when I broke the top, and breaking the top, it goes from 22 back down to 14. It's not like it goes flat. We're still 14% up. And I took a glance at the top of my glasses. I need glasses to wear, so I have prescription sunglasses. And I took a glance at the top, so I couldn't really see them, but I knew they were in pink skirts. That's all I knew. And I knew if I looked up, I was going to be laughing so hard that I'd fall over. So I didn't look up until I got them. And they had put on pink Mickey Mouse ears. I had two guys, two gals. They were wearing pink jog bras and pink skirts and pink knee-high socks. Now, you've ridden 100K. If that doesn't get you started to go, okay, these people are here for a good time. They're not really here for you. Then, not much does. But yeah, so they had a whole umbrella set up there for me and snacks and goodies and let me stay for about a minute and a half. Said, okay, we'll see you in 10K. And then they took off on me. It's just how it goes, right?
Yeah.
And
that's one of the places. That's one of the places where Steve King sets up on the course and you announces you as you're going by.
And you can hear him from about the kilometer mark because he has this unique ability. And if you've never heard Steve call a race, first off, the guy's mental, so he's got a melon on the size of brain pan better than most, but he never forgets anything. And when when you fill out your entry form, and like they want some history of what you've done, and then about a month outside of the race, they send you this race announcer form, and they said, please put some things down so Steve has something to talk about. I just wrote in, Steve knows more about me and everybody that's racing this race than they even remember, because the guy forgets nothing.
Yeah.
So he can babble on about you for 20 minutes if he wants to. So I heard Steve calling me from about a kilometer out. I knew he was there, and he's there. It's a great place for him because you can see everybody coming. You watch them disappear. And it's sort of this nice spot. He uses a little shady spot where he parks his van and sits on the back of his van and calls the race. And you would think that he is talking to 10,000 people, not the 10 people that are there.
Yeah. Or sometimes 0 people that are there.
Correct. Yeah. When you go down, there's this little fruit stand, whatever, and he's sitting on the cement embankments that are along the road, and he's sitting there yakking. It's like, hi, Steve. Bye. You buy him just in a blink.
Yeah.
And then he's 10K from Soyuz, and then he's still sitting there when you come back the other direction. It's crazy. And then you leave the wall and you go through the meadows. You got another pretty significant climb. Ran into another bear. This guy was just a little black bear this time, so he's just sitting there eating berries on the side of the road, standing upright, trying to get to the top there. And then you get to Princeton, and you got another fairly significant climb. It's 10% as you head out to Allison Lake. And this year, coming back from Allison Lake, and again, that's it's a 2-hour ride out, or can be a 2-hour ride out, because it's uphill the whole way. but it's usually about a
25 minutes back.
15 or 20 minutes back because you've been climbing so steep. It's the highest point on the entire course at Allison Lake. And usually guys are coming back into town at 70 or 80 kilometers an hour. And this year, no, we had headwind coming back into town. So
Oh, no.
you're back down to 30 or 35 kilometers an hour pedaling to try and keep moving forward.
Yeah.
And that's the end of day two. You get Princeton to the skating rink and stop, and you're done day two. So now you've got, day one, 140K ride, 10K swim, day two, 276 in the tank. And you just got to get ready for this little run the next day.
Little double marathon.
Little double marathon, not much, which I didn't get a chance to do this year.
Yeah.
So
let's, what happened where you didn't do the day three? Did you decide being a participant and doing that was not going to be for you?
No, I really wanted to do it. Of course, I got my magic weapon, my secret weapon, Gale, would have put me back together, no problem. And I didn't think I'd done enough damage on the bike. Like I hadn't pushed hard enough on the bike that I wouldn't be able to run day two or run, walk, run day two.
Right. Day three.
Day three, pardon me. But I got to my hotel room and my reservation had been canceled. That we booked in April. And that's a whole kerfuffle I don't really want to get into on air because I just don't think it's right to air it the way it went down. Suffice it to say that I had an option. There was 5 people in my crew, a couple, a gal from Australia, and my buddy. And there was one room available in town with a king bed. And my crew said, will you and Gail stay? She can work on you and we'll drive back and drive out in the morning. And I said to my crew, we started this as a crew, we're going to finish as a crew. Plus, I don't think her husband or my wife would really like us sleeping in the same bed. So, and so then the next thought for my crew was, and they really wanted me to run. They knew I wanted to run. They said, well, we'll get back to Penticton to the Airbnb that we booked. And, we'll get you massaged, sorted, fed, showered, get your gear together and load the truck, unload the bike and everything. And then we'll drive back in the morning for the race start. And I said to them, I'm not interested in being folded in half for 2 hours to get back to the Airbnb, to get up at 3 to eat, digest, have your nervous boop, have a pee, eat some more, get a warm-up massage from Gail to get back in the truck to drive 2 hours back to the race start at 9 degrees centigrade to run 84 kilometers. Just wasn't interested.
Right.
So I called it right then and there. I said, we're going to go back out. We're going to support. We're going to cheer on, but I'm not going to run. It's not fair to ask me to do that. And it's not fair that it happened that way. So it was a little bit of a downer. That being said and done, I didn't want the other athletes to feel like I'd abandoned them or the race. So we, got up they started at 7 bells. We got up at, I think I woke up at 5. We went down, had breakfast, and then headed out on the course to the halfway point, and then supported the athletes as they came in.
Nice.
To the finish line. So, and got a chance to cheer them on and support them, and I think that was the right move. So that's why I didn't run day 3.
Yeah. Well, you have your own coaching business as well, Epic 365. What would Coach Bill say to athlete Bill about how your race went? What advice would you be passing on to that athlete?
Don't swim. It's that old adage, hey, doctor, heal thyself. I would tell anybody that was going to do what I did not to do it. I would advise them that, you're just not ready physically to do the swim. I was fine to do the cycle and the run. I rode probably 300 and let's call it 380K in 2 days. I got back here to Calgary 3 days later, and I went for a 100K ride on my bike. And I rode today, jammed up a couple of hills here in town. like I had done nothing.
Right.
So that's a testament to the fitness level I have. My heart, my lungs, my lower legs are in great shape. The shoulders and the back and the neck and the traps were not ready for the effort. I think what probably got me through it all was 5 decades of putting my head down and just getting after it.
Right.
If I didn't have that experience, I probably wouldn't have not have gotten out of the water. But when you've got decades of this is going to hurt, this is going to be uncomfortable, and you need to figure out constantly be doing some self checks to see where you're at and adjusting things to make sure that you can continue to move forward, which is what I did.
Yeah.
But somebody who's new to sport, ultras, I would have definitely said, yeah, don't do it. But Coach Bill would also tell client Bill that he's pretty proud of what he did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? It's
And how about those grandkids? Are they proud of what Coach Bill
oh yeah,
and athlete Bill were able to pull off?
oh yeah. My oldest grandson is like he just said, so did a piston break or did a chain break? Like what happened? Right? Because I'm a cyborg. If you take a look at my arm, I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if you can. I don't know if you right. But my arm is all gears and machine things. There's some jet engine stuff on there, and I've got chain. I've got links on my arm, um, and there's 6 blue chain links, and there's 3 pink chain links for all my grandkids.
Oh, nice.
So they are the driving force of. They're my light, right?
Mm-hmm.
They see things the way we've forgotten to look at them. Like a 2-year-old sees a leaf for what a leaf is, whereas we just see it as the debris that we're going to blow off our garage driveway. So they constantly remind me that life is worth living, and I live through sport. I really do. It's how I breathe.
Yeah. Well, I think that we've missed one of the major things that has been a part of your life for a while now, from back in 2016. We mentioned it in the opening, and I think it's something we need to discuss because it's a pretty big deal. You were the person who brought Park Run to Canada, the very first Park Run back in 2016, which has now, as I said in the opening, grown up to 64 different events around Canada. Tell me about how you got involved with Park Run and why you wanted to bring it to Canada and how you were able to pull this off. And do you have any connection to its running these days?
Yeah, so that was a long journey. So it started in 2016, but for me it started in 2014. I have a friend of mine, her name's Therese. We were in the military together. When she retired, she moved to England. She's a school teacher, or a now retired school teacher. And she called me up one day out of nowhere and said, hey, you need to get Park Run to Canada. And I went, what's Park Run? She's like, it's run in a park. It's free 5 times 5K. And I said to her, do you know how many 5Ks are in Canada? Like, seriously? What's so special about this? So she kind of explained it to me, and I took a long, hard look at it. So I called or emailed Park Run Global. And if nobody knows, then probably some of your audience will, some of your audience won't. So I'll kind of explain. There's a guy by the name of Justus Hewitt that was a brilliant 5K guy. He was a 14-minute 5K guy, and he got injured. So he decided rather than sit on the sidelines and feel sorry for himself while he was preparing from his fairly serious injury, that he would go down to the park and he would time his mates through a 5K event, and then post them on a simple Google spreadsheet every week while he was healing. And that's how it started. And that was happening in Bushy Park. And now Bushy Park every weekend has north of 3,200 runners come in every
Wow.
week. So when you sign in and become a member of Park Run, it issues you a unique barcode with barcode technology. Every barcode is unique. My barcode is 2,600,999. So I got the first barcode issued in Canada. and everything from that goes forward. We're now issuing barcodes in the 8 million mark. So that tells you how many people have registered for parkrun in the
Wow.
last 10 years.
Yeah.
We're almost at 9 million now, registered parkrun runners. I had to get the mayor involved in Kelowna, had to talk to the council members to say, hey, this is good for the city.
Yeah.
Had to sell them on that. And we got the first one kicked off August 20th of 2016 with 105 runners.
That's awesome.
And and then the next one was Calgary, and then Vancouver, and then Winnipeg, and it slowly has grown
Yeah.
organically, because what happens is somebody comes to Kelowna and as a runner is looking for something to do, and somebody says, hey, when you're in Kelowna, go find parkrun. They give them the site
Yeah.
and they get on. And what it does, Larry, is it makes people accountable if you're in a community. Because if I say to you, hey man, let's go do parkrun, and we go to parkrun, and then I say, hey, let's go do it again next week, and you don't show up, the next time I see you, it's like, where were you?
Yeah.
Right. So it keeps people accountable. Friendships are born, and we've now got a couple guys that are getting close to 500 parkruns. So they haven't really missed a weekend, which is, you think about doing 500 5Ks over the course of 10 years. There's always two special days. We do one on Christmas Day, and we do one on Canada Day. Those are the two specials that we do. And we have had people travel to do park runs. People do park run bingo,
Oh yeah.
because every park run starts with a different letter. So people will go around and travel around to do park runs with start with a B and a C and a D. And then we have had one guy, you're only allowed to do one park run a weekend. So we had a guy in New Zealand do the park run in New Zealand, and then get in a plane, fly to Vancouver, fly into Kelowna, and do park run in Kelowna. So he could do two in one weekend, but they were different time zones, so he didn't do them on the same day.
Yeah.
So it is a phenomenon in itself to have 8 million plus people going on a Saturday. And they're not always all there, but the potential is that you could have 8 million
Yeah.
people cross a 5K finish line somewhere on the planet is astounding. Pleased to have been a part of it. I've been asked to put another one on here in Calgary, and I volunteered for 6 years straight, every weekend, wind, rain, snow, weather. It's a lovely event. I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
And
proud.
that is another thing about parkrun is there's generally a group of volunteers. There's not just one person out there. It's 10, 12 people like
it
laying
takes
out the course, helping with the timing, meeting new people, telling them how to run that particular course. So it is a big community event as well.
Yeah, so it creates friends within that circle as well. It's not always the same volunteers. We have a sign-up sheet. It's electronic now. Back when I started it, it was on pen and paper. It's like people across the line say, hey, what are you doing next weekend? Are you going to run, or do you want help?
Yeah.
Right. Park runs, it's a global phenomenon. It's also really well put together, and they have lots of major corporate sponsors. You volunteer 25 times to get a purple T-shirt. They send it to you free, and it says, park run volunteer 25. You do 50, you get a T-shirt. You do 100, you get a T-shirt. You do 250, you get a T-shirt. 500, you get a T-shirt. Now, they're all different colors. So you go to a park run, and you can walk into a park run in Ireland, and you'll see people in green shirts and blue shirts and red shirts, and these like you kind of like, wow, man, you've done 500 park runs? Like, seriously? Committed, or should be. But it's the simple little things, and it may sound silly. We have a guy by the name of Rory Bass, who's an ultra.
I know Rory, yeah.
Right, Rory.
Yeah.
So Rory and his lady went to watch the Ultraman races overseas, motorcycle races. And while they were there, Rory found himself a park run to go do a park run over on Ireland. So not something that he would have done when he was doing Ultraman, going, hey, when I go traveling, I'm going to go find a park run that I can do for free.
Right.
So there's a lot of subtle things that have happened because park runs here in Canada. And again, I'm exceedingly pleased and proud to be a part of it. I've helped here in Calgary, go volunteer. I've run it a couple times. Do I want to get another one going here in Calgary? No, they're a lot. It's a lot of work for the guy it's called, the person that starts the new park run is called an instigator.
Okay, yeah.
Right? Because you need to get your community on side. You have to find
Yeah.
volunteers. You got to set your course. There's a bunch of paper that has to happen. And I am now way more satisfied racing again, spending time with my grandkids and trying to figure out what I'm going to do the following year and maybe start another event. Who knows?
Yeah.
You never know what I'm going to do.
Well, I know that before you've said that one of your bucket list things is to go run the Bushy Park run. And you've also said that Comrades, one of the things that Steve King has done,
Yeah.
is on your bucket list. So are those still on your list? What are your bucket list items now? What are your targets? What can we expect from you?
Comrades is still on my bucket list. And seriously toying with Oz for next year, if they'll let me in. I'm quite sure that if I ask
The UM
nicely,
Australia.
if I ask nicely, Ultraman Oz
Yeah.
is on the bucket list. There's a little race in Scotland called the Monster, which I would kind of like to go do. Considering I was fun with Yogo Pogo, I figured it's only safe I should go swim with her cousin Nessie
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Loch Ness. And that's another ultra kind of stage race. It's a 5K swim, 1,000K bike, and a 50K run. I still like to be able to go down and drag my butt down to do a 10K down in the Antarctic, which would be the only continent I haven't run on yet.
Okay.
So those are bucket list stuff. I'd like to get to the point where I've got 100 marathons under my belt, and I'm about 8 short. So again,
Well, that's good.
I've got a few years to get 8 more marathons in.
Do you know which one would be 100? Which one would you make 100?
I would try and do one of the majors at 100. I'd try and get into Chicago or London. I think would be one of the two that I would choose to do the 100 in. But you have to qualify to get to those, and then you got to be lucky enough to get in.
Right.
Because not everybody who qualifies gets in. Maybe again, I haven't looked at. I think I have to run a 340 at my age, which is I'm well within that capability right now. So I don't think it's going to be a chore. But
yeah,
if you do 2 a year, one in the spring and one in the fall, that's still 4 years away. And who knows? 4 years when you're a young fellow like me can be a long time. What's going to happen? I just want to stay healthy, right? I've had a couple of years of just ugly. I just want to stay nice and healthy and have some fun. It's that simple for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know for you also giving back is a big part as we've learned through creating Park Run and your role in being a part of the Ohana and all of that. You've given for your country and your military service, and I think you've really shown us and your grandchildren what some true grit looks like. It doesn't matter that you're as young as you are, so no matter what the injuries are, the setbacks, the DNFs, I know you're going to keep moving forward. So congratulations on getting to that starting line and giving it a really fair run this year at Ultraman Canada. I'm sure you'll get into another 5:15 race and when you get shoulders working, get to the finish line and have all that as well. So thank you very much for sharing your stories today and telling us about some of your unique races. It's much appreciated.
Absolutely. Thanks, Larry. Take care.
And if you want to honor Bill, go out this Saturday and find a park run in your community and take part.
Hey, if you liked what you heard today, please tell a friend. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. We'd appreciate it if you'd rate and review the show while you're there. Drop the names of the people you think we should interview and we'll get in touch with them and make that happen. Thank you for listening to 5:15, the Ultra Podcast, a production of 5-5 Enterprises. Now really, go subscribe now before you forget.